chasing him away.
The elephant came in my farm, but they didn't get him chasing the elephants.
This is our elephant-friendly honey. It's jarred very simply, and it's a symbol of all the work that's gone into the project. And it's now being jarred in our Elephants and Bees Research Centre, ready for sale around the country, back in Nairobi, and in many homes and houses in the world. We have this international partnership with this beginnings for them to come on board and support not only funding to the increasing wildlife and research expertise, that's the expertise of the support.
If someone in your party is traveling with wedding fast, please line up behind the cameras, allowing them to lead the group through the gate as the As you approach the loading waterfall, please note that it is divided into two distinct zones. The area with handrails is the loading zone or zone 1. Zone 1 is where you will stand just before you board your vehicle. Zone 2 is immediately behind it. As you move out into Zone 2, please note the 4 circles at the feet in each row of the zone. Each row can comfortably seat 4 adults. Children may be seated next to or on the laps of their parents or accompanying adults. As the group ahead of you boards,
To ensure a safe and pleasant trip, you should be in good health and free from high blood pressure, heart, back and neck problems, motion sickness, or other conditions and your findings of
Asante Sana, Warden. Asante Sana does mean thank you in Swahili. And another word that we like to say here is twende, which means let's go. Jumbo, everyone. My name is Rachel. I'll be your safari guide out here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Just a real quick safety reminder, make sure everybody is staying seated at all times with our hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck. This does include while we are not moving, and it does also include our little ones. Everybody, whether you are a little kid or a big kid at heart, does need to remain in the same lapworth seat for our entire journey. Now we're going to start this journey off today in the Little Aturi Forest. If you look over to your right, these 2 girls over here are okapi. Oh, also, to our right, this is a saddle-billed stork. Now, as far as the okapi goes, you might see some zebra-looking stripes along the very back sides of their legs, but despite the fact that we refer to those patterns as zebra-looking stripes, these animals are the closest and only living relative of not the zebra, but of the giraffe. You can tell this by looking at 2 primary features that both the giraffe and the okapi share. The very first is a pretty similar skull structure, and the second is a prehensile tongue. We're going to take a look at this guy here on our left that does actually have a prehensile body part as well. He does have a triangular prehensile lip, and this is a black rhino. Now, there are only about 5,000 of these black rhinos left in the entire world, which does make them an endangered species. The black rhinos specifically can weigh anywhere from about 2,000 to 3,000 pounds, and this does actually make them the smaller of the 2 rhino species that we have here at Kilimanjaro Safaris. Yes, 3,000 is considered small here. Now, because of their size, rhinos of any species, they don't really have a whole lot of natural predators, but as I said, they are an endangered species, and that is due most commonly to poaching for the materials in their horns. But despite some belief out there, rhino horns are really not very valuable. They're made of keratin, which is the same material as our hair and fingernails. Now, to your left, there are some bongos up on that ridge. They are the darker, kind of reddish-brown animal. Then there were some greater kudu over there as well. They are a lighter tan antelope species. They were kind of hiding in the trees, though. But the next area of the reserve that we're going to make our way into is the Safi River. Now, somewhat similar to the forest, the animals here can sometimes be a little bit hard to see. Did you like to hang out in or around the water? Ooh, really hard to see, but if you are able to see over the ridge, there is one hippo down there laying in one of those spots I am not allowed to stop in. So we'll see if we can maybe find the rest of the bloat a little bit further up ahead. Also to your right, though, there are some pink-backed pelicans over there. They are the large whitish gray birds that you can see over there. Let's see, though, the bloated hippos will sometimes wander over this way. Hippos are very strong swimmers, but for the most part, their preferred mode of transportation whenever they are in the water is to walk or sometimes even run along the very bottom of the riverbed. That is what this one is doing right here. That is a hippo down there. It's not a big floating rock. So yeah, she is walking down there. She's kind of doing like a very brisk walk. Guys, we gotta be seated at all times. I know they are hard to see, but we gotta stay seated. Now hippos, whether they are in or out of the water, they can move pretty quickly. Out of the water, hippos can run up to about 15 miles an hour, or no, 35 miles an hour. Out of the water, I just spoiled how fast they can go in the water. If that one back there in the water, if she got running at her top speed, she could run up to about 15 miles an hour down there at the bottom of the river, even with the resistance of the water. Now here to your left, these are Nile crocodiles. Nile crocodiles do have an incredibly strong bite force. Their bite is so strong that they can crush the bones of their prey entirely. But don't worry, they're not all bite. Nile crocodiles, they do incubate their eggs inside of their mouths, as opposed to like most species of birds, for example, who prefer to sit on their eggs to incubate them. So what the crocodiles will do instead is they'll take those eggs into their mouth and gently roll them around to let some of their excess body heat up those eggs and then produce some nice, healthy little baby crocodiles. And then to make the job just a little bit easier, it is both the male and the female crocodile that will shoulder the responsibility. So they'll kind of alternate. One will sit back and protect the eggs and incubate them while the other one goes out and eats, hunts, etc., etc. And like I said, they'll kind of swap periodically to make sure that they are splitting that job evenly. The next area of the reserve that we're going to make our way into is the Savannah. It is the largest area of the reserve by quite a lot. So if you are just a little bit tired of switching ecosystems every couple minutes or so, you are in luck. We will be here pretty much the rest of our journey, minus maybe 1 or 2 minutes at the very, very end. Unlike the previous two areas, though, I don't have much of a disclaimer as far as seeing the animals goes out here. The landscape of the savannah is going to be much flatter than it was in the river and in the forest, so it makes seeing the animals that are out just a little bit easier. The first one that we're going to take a look at is over here on our right. Now there's a few Ankoli cattle hanging out over here. You can probably see their horns before you see the rest of the animal. Their horns can get up to about 6 feet long from tip to tip. Now those horns are not just there wasting space for these animals, they do actually serve a pretty important purpose. Ankoli cattle, they do have blood vessels running all throughout those horns to help them out with temperature regulation. So they can kind of disperse some of that heat away from their body and up into their horns to keep their bodies just a little bit cooler. Other than those blood vessels, though, their horns are fairly hollow on the inside. It does give them something of a honeycomb-like structure, but it does also make them incredibly lightweight. But let's see what my favorite boys are doing over here. I believe I saw a couple of them through the breaks in these trees. Yeah, there they are. So these are African painted dogs, one of my favorite species of animals. All right, guys, like I said, little ones do need to be fully seated as well. My second row, that little one does need to be fully seated. Second row with 2 people in the row. Second row. Second row. Little one fully seated. Thank you, guys. Now, all 6 of the African painted dogs on over here are brothers. And they are all 6 boys. Now, they are endurance hunters. This means that they can keep up their speed for long periods of time. In most cases, their prey drops from exhaustion. They can keep an average of about 35 miles an hour for up to about 3 miles. They do actually switch off who is the one leading the hunt to give them the best chance of success that they can get. So they'll kind of switch off and make sure that the one leading the pack is the one with the most energy. That does give them about a 90 to 95% success rate when it comes to hunting. Yeah, I know. There's a couple of sable antelope back there. That's what they are. They're a little... Oh, no, they're pretty easy to see. I could talk about the African painted dogs all day, though. I'm a little biased on them. They're so, so cool. So very, very smart animals. But as far as the sable antelope go, their horns also fairly impressive. Their horns can get about 36 inches long from base to tip. Ooh, but we're going to look at this guy over here on your left. Another one of my favorites out here. This is a giraffe, obviously. And I feel like I didn't need to tell y'all that one. But giraffes are the tallest land animals in the world. Giraffes, they can get up to about 20 feet tall. Baby giraffes, on average, they do start their lives off at about 6 feet tall, so they get a pretty good head start on their height, even when they're first born. Now, me personally, I always like to say that 6 foot tall height doesn't necessarily come for free. That is because those 6 foot tall baby giraffes, depending on how tall their mother is, they usually take anywhere from about a 4 to 6 foot drop from their mother to the ground when they're first born. I know, it sounds like a lot, I know, but I promise you, it does not do them much damage. Even after they take that fall, they are up and walking around within about the first 15 to 20 minutes of their lifetime. Kind of out of necessity. If they were down on the ground any longer, they would be even more susceptible to predators than they already are as baby giraffes. So, actually most, if not all, of the prey species do the same thing. Giraffes, wildebeest, zebra, all of them are up and joining that herd within about the first 30 minutes or so that they're born to give them the best chance of life that they can get. That is also the same reason a lot of these animals do tend to hang out in herd-type formations. There's safety in numbers. Speaking of numbers now, I know that we have 9 giraffes that live here on this reserve. We had one over there. I would assume the other 8, based upon the fact that this truck in front of me is stopping, I would assume the other 8 are in their favorite little spot that they like to hang out in just over here. So we'll see. I would assume that's where they at. 1, because the guests in front of me are looking over that way, but 2, I know the giraffes have a fantastic sense of internal time. Ooh! Okay, not 8 more of them, but I'm going to point out this giraffe right up here at the front. You'll notice that she is a little bit smaller currently than the rest of them. She's laying down right now. Now, this is something that giraffes rarely, if ever, do in the wild. So if you kind of compare her with the ones that are standing up, it brings their vital organs much closer to the ground. So that's the main reason they don't do it. Leaves them more vulnerable to predators. But it is also an incredibly long and awkward process for them to stand up, which again, leaves them super vulnerable to predators. They don't even really sleep laying down like that. They will sleep standing up for about 15 to 20 minute increments. So they only do this, they only lay down like that when they are about 200% comfortable. This is like the 3rd giraffe. I've seen, I think this is the 3rd giraffe I've seen laying down today. They do it a lot out here. It's a rare behavior that we get to see a lot. They know they're safe. They are very comfortable out here. So it's a really cool, rare behavior that we get to see a whole lot out here. It's actually one of my favorite things to see. Like I said, shows how happy they are out here. Let's see though. Is anybody hanging out up here at the watering hole? Let's see. I don't know if I see anybody just yet. Ooh, they're just starting to come out. Back left corner. Just starting to wander out. A couple of elephants, yeah. Elephants? I know, they're just starting to wander out. Sometimes they'll come charging out here. They're taking their time though today. They're like, we were out here earlier. We'll wander. Oh, they're one of my favorite animals too. My 2 favorite, actually I have 3 favorite species of animal, but the elephants and the painted dogs, my 2 favorites. I'm also fond of octopus, but we don't have any of those out here. I do too. All 3 of my favorite animals, super, super smart animals. That's why I love them so much. I know, I was hoping those girls would kind of get a move on and get up here, but... Alright though, I have some more animals here to your left that are a little bit easier to see than those elephants were. These are some greater flamingos. Now they are called greater flamingos just simply because they're the largest of their species. Now they, like most flamingo species, they do start their lives off gray in color. And then as they get a little bit older, they develop that pink coloring we all know and love them for from their primary diet of brine shrimp. Now, despite the fact that they do have some brighter pink coloring underneath there's one more back there. But despite the fact that these guys do have more of a brighter pink on the underside of their wings, there they are. I was going to say, hopefully we're moving around slowly enough. Yeah, they started wandering out that way. But yeah, Spark Notes version, these are the lightest shade of pink that the flamingos can get. They're the biggest. They have the biggest bodies to disperse that pink color again too. So on the opposite side of the spectrum, if you're super curious, it is the lesser flamingos, the smallest of the species, that are the brightest pink. And if you don't believe me, we got some up at the front of the park at the base of the Tree of Life. Let's see, sometimes you can see this other one. You can kind of see her, but I got more big gray animals we're going to show you instead. Over here to your left, these are white rhinos. So as I said, the black rhino that we saw earlier is the smaller of the two species. These white rhinos here can get about 5,000 pounds. Now this little one right here is the youngest, either the youngest or the second youngest of the crash. We have got two half siblings that are about the same age. I believe this one, let me see if I can figure out if this is the male or the female. I believe it's the male. Can I see your horn, buddy? Can you see the male? I believe it's the male. Yeah, this is probably the male. So, regardless, whether it's the male or the female, they are about a year old. The male, he turned a year old in October. His younger half-sister, the youngest of the crash, she turned a year old in November. So both of them, lots and lots of growing left to do before they reach that full 5,000 pounds. They're so cool. Yeah, they actually don't have very good eyesight. Yeah, that's why a group of rhinos is referred to as a crash. They will sometimes crash into each other. Apparently they also crash into these trucks sometimes. That's super fun. Listen, you ever had to do paperwork at your job because of a rhino? I got a cool job. Anyway, so here to your left, there's two cheetahs over here. There is one straight out from the truck, kind of right between the two trees, and then there is one at the base of the tree right there. There is also one I can see a little bit further up that is out walking around. So we'll take a look at her. There she is. Ah, they're so cool too. Ooh, two of them out walking around right now. What a rare occurrence. Thank you for blessing us with your appearances, girls. What? Now, they are the fastest land animals in the world. They can run anywhere from about 65 to 70 miles an hour or so, and they can actually go about 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. Now they do have quite a few features on their bodies to help them out with their speed. The primary two are going to be their long, thin tails that they will twist in a circle while they're running to help them make sharp turns. But then they do also have non-retractable claws, and they are the only species of cat in the world who can't retract their claws. Helps them out to provide them with traction to prevent them from slipping and falling on the dirt and grass-covered savanna floor. The most recent fact I've learned about the cheetahs, it's now one of my favorites. A group of cheetahs is referred to as a coalition. The coalition of cheetahs. It's one of the cooler group names that we have. We have a crash of rhinos, a coalition of cheetahs. We didn't see them, but another one that I really like, a dazzle of zebras. Yeah. A flamboyance of flamingos. What other ones? I don't know if they're called something silly, but yeah, there is an ostrich over here. There's one more rhino. Oh, no, two more rhinos. There's the baby of the crash. I mean, she's really, really big still, and she's hiding behind her mom, but there she is. We actually should be able to see her pretty well. We're going to end up on the other side of these rocks here. Don't tell the other rhinos that we saw earlier, but her and her mom are my favorites of the crash. She's so funny. She is a little bit more timid than he is. So I've seen these rhinos. I mean, they're animals just like we do. They get in little spats. I have seen her mom get into a spat, and she ran literally the opposite direction. She said, I want nothing to do with this. No, thank you. Please, mom, get me away. He, on the other hand, I believe I've seen his mom get into an argument with another rhino. He was standing there the whole time, like basically like cheering her on. Like, yeah, mom, you got it. Yeah. Completely different animals. But another completely different animal we're going to look at over here to your left is a very sleepy male lion. It's actually the first time I've seen him today. That's fun.
What if the lion comes over?
Lions, they are nocturnal. They will spend up to about 20 hours a day sleeping to conserve their energy. Now, once they do wake up, it is the females of the pride that will go out at night and hunt, whereas the male is the one that will stick back and protect the cubs as well as their land. And since he is the protector of the pride, he does have one feature on his body that is a little bit different from the females to help him out with that role, and that is his mane. It is not just there to tell you whether he's male or female. It's actually there to help protect his throat from injuries. Oh, there she went. I was like, where'd her mom go? She's right there. They wandered. But yeah, there she is. But yeah, also another female is going to be this ostrich right here. You can tell she is a female ostrich because of her brown feathers. The males have black feathers. Now, they are the largest species of bird in the world, but they are also the fastest animal on 2 legs. They can run anywhere from about like 35 to 40 miles an hour or so. It's about the average here on the Savannah. Rhinos, same thing, 35 to 40, but that is much, much faster than any of us 2-legged animals can run. We're doing a whopping 8 right now, so she could literally outrun this truck any day of the week. Even backstage, when we are allowed to take these trucks as fast as they can physically go, we can only do about 20 in these trucks, so she could outrun me any day that she wanted to. Oh my gosh, what are y'all doing over here? So I got one more animal to show you. You good? Yeah. That's one of their favorite spots to hang out in. I don't know why, but they're so funny. These are Nigerian dwarf goats. Super, super cute, but they're also really good at helping us out around the reserve. They're very helpful. They are ruminants, which means that they have 4 stomachs to make them capable of digesting a lot of other materials that other animals are not capable of digesting. Now, obviously, we don't give them anything that would hurt them or make them sick, but they are really good at eating up a lot of the vegetation that the other herbivores and omnivores are not super fond of. But they were, unfortunately, the last animal that I have to show you out here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. We are going to start to make our journey back to the village where we will eventually have to part ways. If you would like to see some more animals, I do highly recommend the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail here in Africa. Ooh, excuse me. Let's see, what all can you see over there? You can see a couple more okapis as well as a couple more hippos in the underwater hippo viewing area. But they do also have a bunch of new species of animals that you might recognize. They do have meerkats, naked mole rats, a couple more species of reptiles, amphibians, and birds. One more species of zebra over there, although we didn't. Did we see? I don't know. Anyway, one more species of zebra over there. And then obviously, as the name suggests, the gorillas over there. Super, super cute. If you thought the baby rhinos were cute, the baby gorillas are adorable. The littlest one of the troop over there, she's actually about the same age as these baby rhinos. She is about a year old, and then she does have an older half-sister as well, who is about 3 years old. A little bit bigger than her little sister, but she is still definitely pretty easily distinguished from the grown-ups. She's a little bigger, but not quite as big as like her dad. Her dad is like the biggest one. Sure, if you want to go on another safari, if you want to go over to Gorilla Falls, or if you want to go over to the Maharaja Jungle Trek in Asia, that you go do those things sooner rather than later, before all of those animals go to bed for the evening. Alright, my friends, if you're on the right side, watch your hands, arms, feet, and legs. Those doors are sliding open. Once again, friends, my name is Rachel. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with me today. If I do happen to have any wilderness explorers on board, this has been the Simba Wine. S-I-M-B-A, just like the lion. Happy birthday! It's a good place to spend your birthday. It's where I spent mine too.
Change again. Yeah. Everything's easy, the points go slow. Yeah. Just want to find it. Yeah.
I can't believe it. See them pots on the 25-ton Land Rover there? Yeah. Is that what he said? Should have been on a toilet.
Thank you.